All right, welcome to the Sailing Doodles podcast. Been a while since we've done one of these. Going to be starting up more of these, though, so keep tuned in, subscribe, and all that stuff. So my guest today is Diana Margarita. She kind of represents the sailing and tourism group for Puerto Rico, and I've known her for a couple years now, and great person, so let's meet her and introduce yourself. So hello, Diana.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me, Bobby.
So what is your actual role down here? What do you do? You have your own company doing this stuff now.
Yes, I started my own company, Island Bound, a couple of years ago now. I started in 2019, and I started it to represent Puerto Rico as a sailing destination, especially in like the boat shows and to do big events here to kind of bring the sailing community down to Puerto Rico.
So if somebody's looking for, you have a website or anything to
Yes,
represent that? What is that?
We are islandbound.com, so check us out.
We are islandbound.com.
Yes.
All right, well, glad to have you here. Cheers. So we got a little
Salud.
wine going on, yeah. And we're going over to a good friend of ours, Jose, who owns Marina Pescaderia. We're going to a barbecue at his place tonight.
Yep.
So that'll be fun.
Jose is an awesome marina manager and also a rep for Puerto Rico with the Seven Seas Cruising Association.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you've got some. We'll just get to the big news first. You've got a that you helped organize, and you are kind of running and managing the whole thing, right? You've got a match race. What is this? What do you got going on here?
So part of what I started my company for was to bring big sailing events. So I'm a race officer. I'm certified in race management with World Sailing and U.S. Sailing. So my big love is making regattas happen.
Okay.
And we've been trying to do that for a year, but obviously pandemics, earthquakes. So I've actually been in conversations with them since November of 2019. Conversations started up back again, and I signed the contract this week. So I'm the official event partner, and I have exclusivity to bring World Match Racing Tour to Puerto Rico.
All right, so explain what that is. I mean, some World Match Racing, is it, what kind of boats are we talking about?
So at each event has its own boats. So for example, in Long Beach, they do Catalina 37s. In Bermuda, they do IODs. And here we're doing IC24s, which is like our local big racing league in the Caribbean.
Okay. And how many competitors and boats do you expect to have?
Probably like 12 teams,
okay,
which is 5 people in each team. So we're looking at like 60 competitors. And it's one-on-one racing. So we'll have heats, and in our final, there'll be a final.
Okay. So
it's a series of world championships. And then there's like a final world championship. It's really cool. It's every year.
So I'm definitely interested in seeing that. So what, is it going to be good for spectators coming down? How are you going to have set up? I mean, it'd be on boats or on shore? How are you going to be able to watch this stuff?
Well, both, hopefully.
Okay.
We're actually in the middle of getting all the permits for that. So right in the Bay of Ponce, we're going to have the racing area. So you'll be able to see it from the yacht club.
Okay.
And then the yacht club will be like the command center. So this will be where the competitors are, the race management team is, and the media center, which will be right down from your boat.
Okay.
And then in the beach area, which we call the Playa de Ponce, we'll have a spectator, but I'm actually getting permits to do a maritime spectator area. So you can go out, anchor on your boat,
okay,
have a VIP experience with the racing area right in front of you.
Well, and so Puerto Rico, okay, we'll talk about actually cruising in Puerto Rico in a minute, but actually Puerto Ricans are more known for their powerboat stuff, right? I mean, I would think, right?
On a big scale, yeah. Sadly, sailing in Puerto Rico hasn't been pronounced, or the media doesn't really talk about it a lot. But we have, for example, Kike Figueroa, who is going to compete in the Olympics in the summer, and he won, I think it was 7 or 8 consecutive Central American Games and Pan American Games in Hobby 16. IC24 is actually a derivative of J24, which is one of the biggest keel boats that was sailed in Central American Games, Pan American Games. And we have, gold medalists, bronze medalists, silver medalists. We have pretty big sailing heroes here.
Yeah.
They're just not talked about a lot.
Well, it's so every afternoon, well, on the weekends especially, but a lot of times in the afternoons you see all the kids bringing out the little dinghy sailors, and they're out sailing, racing, and all that. I think it's pretty cool seeing all that.
Yeah, this is where I learned how to sail.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, at that little school.
All right, so let's get into some of the sailing in Puerto Rico. So I first came through Puerto Rico 4 years ago, and I just did the North Coast. I was kind of in a hurry. I was having to get to San Juan to pick some people up. there's not a whole lot on the North Coast, so I didn't really look at Puerto Rico as much of a sailing thing. And then the second time through, I did the South Coast.
Right.
So came in and did Cabo Rojo, and then did the South Coast down to like La Peguera and Salinas and Caja Muertos and all that stuff. And definitely, it's a cruiser's paradise down here. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I remember when we had dinner in Annapolis, and you were like, "I didn't really like Puerto Rico." I'm like, "I don't really think you saw Puerto Rico."
Right. Well, I only saw San Juan, and San Juan is great, but it's not really it's on its own. I mean, so there's no the closest next place you could anchor other than San Juan is like 30 or 40 miles away.
Yeah.
And where you do the South Coast, I mean, there's
You're just hopping. You're harbor hopping.
Yeah. So I really liked it, and then. So kind of one of the benefits of Puerto Rico is well, it is the United States. I mean, it's definitely its own unique thing, but it is part of the United States. So as kind of a launching point for the Caribbean, I mean, what'd you call it? You called it like the key or something like?
Yeah, well, since the beginning, like since when Christopher Columbus came to Puerto Rico, everyone considered it the key to the Caribbean because you kind of have to cross it no matter where you want to go.
Right.
If you're coming from Europe or you're coming from the States or you're coming from South America. But yeah, it is definitely a launching point. I mean, I think it's being a U.S. territory, we have a lot of amenities that help. We've got for provisioning, we've got West Marine, we've got all those big shops.
Right.
If not, it can just be shipped super quickly.
Well, I mean, I even Amazon, right? I mean, it's I mean, okay, it's a little slower than on the mainland, but you still get anything from Amazon you want in 5 days.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we're so spoiled now. Like you order something 10 years ago and you're like, I get it in 5 days, sweet. Now it's like, I don't get it tomorrow.
Yeah. And I don't get it tonight.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, right. Yeah. Some days, but it's still pretty nice. I mean, how many things have I ordered here just for this boat? Because it's kind of the new. I'm assuming this actually might beat out the video talking about this boat, so it is kind of a new boat. So yeah, but anyway,
the new boat.
Yeah,
it's nice, guys. It's nice.
Thanks. Cool, thanks. So, and that is kind of the thing is that you can provision. There is 2 West Marines, and then it's just because. When I left Florida, both times I went sailing. So you go through the Bahamas, you go through Turks and Caicos, you can get a lot of stuff in Dominican, but Dominican's not really like a great sailing destination, But Puerto Rico, when you get here, you can really, I mean, because you do 2 or 3 months getting through all that, and then you're pretty much low on provisions at that, and then and it's really cheap here actually. I mean, how is the cost of living compared to the States?
It's more expensive in terms of like utilities and stuff like that because we are an island.
Right.
But I wouldn't say it's like Hawaii. I mean, Hawaii's 3 times more expensive.
Rent and stuff like that is definitely less expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you go to the grocery store, I would say, I mean, it might even be cheaper here in a lot of things.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of agriculture, so a lot of things are actually produced here. And a lot of things are produced here and exported to the States.
Oh, okay.
So it's definitely cheaper here.
And one of the things that's part of the reason that I haven't really announced it to everybody yet, but I'm technically going to make Puerto Rico my residence because of just the tax advantages here.
I'm going to take credit for that one.
Oh, are you? Yeah. Okay. Well, so the corporate tax is 4%. Yeah. And then income tax, personal income tax, it
depends.
It depends.
Yeah. I think our biggest thing is the sales tax, which is a bit high.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I think that bad. Even the personal income tax is a little lower, right?
Yeah. Because we don't pay federal taxes. Well, you do, but locals technically don't.
Well, so like if I make, this year at some point when I qualify to become a Puerto Rican resident,
right?
Do you have to be born here to get that tax benefit, or is it like something I can, naturalize to? You know what I mean?
No. Well, that's a specific incentive law that was made for foreigners to come to Puerto Rico to create business. So it actually changed. It used to be Law 2022, now it's Law 60.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's tons of different tax incentives, but that specific one is for people who come from outside of Puerto Rico to build their business here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the advantage is, 4% corporate tax, it's like 35 or 40% on the mainland.
Yeah.
And that's just, now I hear they are kind of strict about enforcing that you really do have to live here and all that.
Yeah, I think it's 6 months and a day.
Well,
a year.
There's several different ways of doing it. Like there's, 6 months and a day, or The one I'm going to go through is no closer connection to anywhere else. So basically, I can't have a residence or a car or a house or anything that I own or rent elsewhere.
Okay.
It all has to be here. I mean, because I travel. I mean, I'm not 6 months anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But this is your home base.
Right. This will be my home base. So that's how I plan on doing that. And I fully expect to get audited at some point. But, whatever. I can prove it. I got the videos to prove it.
Yeah. Well, my dad's a CPA.
Okay.
So he can help
well,
you
there you
out.
go. All right. Great. So talk about, like, how it is. I mean, why. I mean, because we already talked about provisioning and you can get a lot of stuff here. But, I mean, it's really a good jumping off point to go to the rest of the Caribbean.
Yeah, well, I think Puerto Rico has all of the amenities you need from the mainland, but it still has, like, that charm of being an island in the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of people have considered it a pit stop.
Right.
Like, just provision, get stuff done if you need anything, and then keep going. But I think just like you saw in the South Coast, and, I mean, you went to the rainforest, too, and you kind of did some exploring. I think it's somewhere where you can stop but enjoy the journey while you're here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming through, I mean, if you're just cruising, I mean, you can spend at least a couple months just kind of exploring all the little hidden places on the South Coast.
Yeah.
On the West Coast, you stop and you check in at Marina Pescaderia there by Jose.
You could spend a month there easily.
Yeah, it's nice. It's really nice. Yeah, and then just do the East Coast. La Paguero's great. And then what other places along the South Coast would you recommend?
Ponce for sure. Coffin Island's my favorite place on the planet. And right after Ponce, you could do Salinas.
Right.
If you're looking for a quick stop, like a safe harbor, Guanica, I don't think you went to Gilligan's.
We did, yeah. That's right, yeah.
But you didn't go into the bay. I don't think you did.
I don't think it did. Yeah.
So you can go into that bay. It's a very nice bay. Not really a lot to do there, but it's nice and safe.
It's still pretty.
Nice hurricane hole too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, Cabo Rojo. I'd do Marina Pescaderia, Boquerón. It's very nice.
Right.
I think you guys someone spent New Year's there. I don't remember which one it was.
Us. Yeah, I know.
And then Parguera. I mean, I love Parguera.
Yeah.
It's nice little mangrove keys, and you can hang out. Like,
I went there last weekend on this boat. It was the first time I took it out.
Oh, you did?
I think
awesome.
and then it had
was it packed?
Yeah. It really was.
I think that's really packed.
Yeah, because, I mean, I guess there's nothing else to do because everything else is, I mean, so how has COVID been here, like, on...
Horrible.
Yeah. They locked down pretty strict, I think, for a while.
Yeah, we were full lockdown for 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's slowly been coming back, but the nautical industry got hit pretty hard.
Right, yeah, because I was here when, I was actually in, when I saw you in Salinas, we just started hearing about this COVID thing.
Yeah. That was the weekend before lockdown started.
Right, yeah.
Because you went over to USVI.
Yeah. Well, because we were in, when they did lock down, I was in Fajardo at Puerto del Rey. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, they just did a, non-essential services shutdown, but they didn't consider marinas essential services.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I live on my boat.
Yeah. That was interesting to explain to the authorities. There are people that live on their boat.
Right. They just didn't understand that.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
No.
So, but yeah, so everything's opening back up now. But I mean, I'd say, from what I read, I mean, like Puerto Rico is one of the lowest case rates of COVID.
Yeah.
I mean,
our government shut us down really quickly, so we never actually peaked. Like, the peak everyone talks about the curve, like stopping the curve. We never got to the peak of the curve.
Well, I think a lot of that, and I understand the rationale and why the government did shut down pretty hard, is because generally speaking, in the demographics of Puerto Rico, it's a bit older, right?
Yeah, we have a very big elderly population.
Yeah.
So yeah, that did affect us. Plus, we're an island, so getting supplies and our hospitals, you can't be overrun because it's not like you can just cross over anywhere else. But,
right.
But no, I mean, I think Puerto Rico has been through a lot, and we're definitely resilient because we kind of have to be at this point. But no, I think it's a great spot. I mean, obviously I started a company to promote it. But I think the prettiest thing that Puerto Rico has is that the nautical community is it's really close, and we kind of just help each other out all the time out of resilience and just because really cool people that run the marinas and stuff. And one thing, a lot of insurance. Okay, so even though you did have a pretty bad hurricane 3 years ago now, Maria. Yeah, almost 4. Well, 4
Almost
this
4.
year.
Yeah. And but that did a lot of damage to the island. But as far as boats, I mean, I think it was very little damage to actual boats that were.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
here.
the marinas were pretty much okay. I think the worst of it was in Salinas because there were a lot of boats that were just anchored or on moorings that had been there for so long, and they ended up like on the mangroves.
Yeah.
But Marina Pescaderia was up and running, like a week later. Puerto del Rey opened its doors 2 days later.
Yeah.
And Puerto del Rey has hurricane tie down, which is good for insurance. Like, it's pretty much one of the only marinas that you can stay in during hurricane season.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So a lot of insurance companies will let you keep your boat in Puerto Rico on during hurricane season.
On the hard, mostly.
Well, on the hard. But I mean, otherwise you got to go way down to either like Grenada or you got to go back like north of Georgia.
Yeah.
And that's a long way. So that's one thing that like that's one of the good things about Puerto Rico is that, okay, say you spent 5 or 6 months going from the mainland through the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, then you get down to the Caribbean and all that.
Yeah.
You can either turn around and sail 10 or 12 days back to the mainland, and then if you want to come back, then you got to go into the wind like another 1,500 miles, which is
fun.
Yeah. Or just leave the boat in Puerto Rico for the season
Yeah.
and do that. So, I mean, that's because otherwise then you got to go way down to Grenada, and Grenada, like even during COVID, they were a little iffy on letting people in.
Yeah. They had one of the strictest protocols to come back in.
Yeah.
Because you had to do the quarantine in the one harbor.
Yeah. And then like if your boat was left there and you wanted to get back down to it,
you couldn't get back to it.
You couldn't get to it. So
yeah, and I think last year was that there was a storm that was very, very south.
Oh, was there?
Yeah. So it was cutting it close to Grenada. I remember the buzz about that. But yeah, Puerto Rico. I mean, our infrastructure is pretty high tech at this point. Puerto del Rey is actually the biggest marina in the Caribbean.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, don't they have something?
1,000 wet slips.
How many?
1,000.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, what else? I mean, so you know, a lot of people don't talk about too is what they call the Spanish Virgin Islands.
Right.
Like Culebra, Culebrita, you got Vieques,
yeah.
And those are some of the prettiest places in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like Culebra, right, has it's a number 1 or top 10 beach.
Top 10 flamenco beach.
Flamenco beach.
Yeah. And I think this week Las Chivas, which is in Vieques, was named in the top 25 list.
Okay.
Of beaches in the world. Yeah, I mean, it's pristine waters. It's beautiful, and the good thing is, again, it's like you don't have to go to the middle of like nowhere to access beautiful blue water and sandy beaches. And I think Vieques has like a pink sand beach, a black sand beach, and then all different types of like white sand beach.
Yeah, and then is it you can take a ferry from Fajardo to get over there?
Ceiba, south of Fajardo. I mean, you can take an airplane too. Both of them have airports, which is pretty cheap to fly over there.
Well, that's another thing too is, flying. I mean, so say you wanted to fly down to the BVI or even St. Thomas. Yeah. I mean, it can be a little pricey on that. Where San Juan, I mean, shoot, I can't remember how much I paid for like a ticket here. It was like $100 or something.
Yeah, right now it's like $40.
I know, right? So,
and normally to get to BVI or St. Thomas and stuff like that, you kind of have to go through Puerto Rico.
Yeah, you got to come down to San Juan anyway. Yeah. So yeah, and then from San Juan, but from Fajardo to the USVI is only 20 miles or something, right? 30 maybe?
Yeah, about. I think it's like closer to 30 to 40 depending on where you're going.
And then it's only another couple miles to the BVI.
Yeah.
Although they're still closed down.
Yeah, I was in St. John for Thanksgiving. And we went through we passed Francis Bay and we were going south to Coral Bay, and the BVI cutter was, less than a mile from us watching us. Like, you cannot cross this line or you're going to jail.
Yeah. I heard, I don't know maybe you would know better than me, but I heard that, okay, so they have the innocent right of passage, which has always been a maritime law. I don't know if you call it that. Yeah. So if you can cut through somebody's water as long as you're not going. You can cut through their territorial water as long as you're not going there. Yeah. But they suspended that, and they actually impounded a few boats, right?
Yes. And gave jail time.
Yeah, and like a $20,000 fine.
Mm-hmm. It was intense because they did like a box from Yost all the way to Virgin Gorda or to Anegada. It's like, you cannot be in our waters. Period.
I understand that. That seems just
A little intense.
extreme and intense, but yeah.
I think that's something to be said for the entire Caribbean. Like, this pandemic has just thrown everyone for a whim. I don't think anyone's really handled it super well, except for USVI.
I will say
USVI has done a very good job.
Yeah, so I was actually in the USVI. Well, so I left Puerto Rico, went to the USVI, and I mean, it was like night. I mean, eventually they shut down, but they still didn't go overboard. And although, man, some of the locals, they kind of got ornery eventually. You know, they changed a few. I don't know. It's just, I guess they see these people all swimming and having fun, and they're like, well, we can't do that, so you shouldn't either.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of cruisers too, because it was peak cruising season.
Well, that was the thing too, is that all these cruisers that were, say they were in the BVI or the Grenadines or St. Martin or whatever,
they got kicked out.
They got kicked out, and so they had nowhere to go except the USVI. Yeah. And then I guess at some point, did Puerto Rico open up eventually and let everybody back in too?
Yes. We got a provision for liveaboards and transients to be able to come into Puerto Rico, into the marinas, seeking safe harbor, or provisions, or all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
That took a lot of lobbying, but we did it.
So how do you do that? I mean, do you go to the authorities, or because you were instrumental in doing a lot of that, right?
Yeah. So I had to round up all the marina managers and write a letter to the governor.
Wow.
Explaining, these are people that live on their boats. Like, you can't just kick them out. Most of them are U.S. citizens. They need a place to come. Like, we're not talking, this is for safety reasons at this point.
Right.
Because a lot of people got kicked out, and so they're at sea for a week or two coming from Grenada, and then they don't have provisions or water or fuel, and USVI was packed.
Right.
So they kind of came over here.
Well, I think a lot of, back, especially in the early days in COVID, a lot of places they were like, oh, these dirty sailors, they're going to bring us COVID. And it's like
they've been at sea, they quarantined already.
I mean, even I'm living on the boat in the marina right now, and I have I've come in contact with less than 2 or 3 people a day.
Yeah.
If you live in an apartment somewhere, it's just, But again, people don't, especially people that aren't sailors, don't kind of understand that lifestyle.
No, they don't understand what it means, what it implies. It's kind of, we need to do some awareness campaigns.
Right. So tell me some of your background in sailing and all that.
Well, like I told you, I learned how to sail here at the yacht club, Ponce Yacht Club, and I started sailing when I was like, I don't know, 10, 11, 9, I don't remember. But I did Optimus for a while, which are those little bathtubs, we call them. And I loved it. I loved sailing. I never really got into competition. Like, I didn't really like racing, but then I started doing volunteer work for race management. And I was actually the secretary of race committee for the Central American Games in 2010. Wow. And that's when I really fell in love with it. And so, I went to college, didn't really do much more. Came back to Puerto Rico and got stung by box jellyfish at Coffin Island.
Oh, no. Yeah. How was that?
Almost died.
Really? I mean, is it that bad?
Yeah.
They're not common here, though, right?
Well, they are. They live at the drop-off. So, Coffin Island has, like, that big drop-off in front. So they live there, but they come up to mate 8 to 12 days after every full moon. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So stay away during this full moon, I guess.
A week after.
How bad was it? I mean,
really bad.
I mean,
my legs were on Men's Health magazine for an article for box jellyfish.
Your legs were on Men's Health magazine?
Yes, they were.
Wow. All right. Not for the reason you would want it.
No, definitely not. They did not look good.
Oh, wow. Come on. You look great. So.
Yeah, but I'll show you the picture later. Okay. I had like huge jellyfish sting raunches all over my legs. It was horrible.
So are you do you have the cruising bug? Is that something you want to do someday?
Yeah, I'd love to. So because of that jellyfish thing, I was kind of bedridden for a little bit, and I had to stop. I was going to college in North Carolina, so I had to come back and stay at home. And so I just started sailing, like doing race management and all that stuff. And then for the hurricanes, I did hurricane relief in the States, and that's when I met so many cruisers, and I was like, this is something that I want to do someday, like for real.
Yeah, it I couldn't imagine doing anything else now. I mean, it's a different thing for sure. And so many people have the misconception. I mean, like that. Okay, something, and me, including me. Like I used to think, okay, I want to retire early one day and do this. Well, when you get to retirement, maybe physically you can't do it, or you don't have enough money, or I mean, who knows, whatever. But there's a lot of people, I know a lot of them, that either work remotely or they're doing it seasonally. They'll cruise during the good season for 6 months, and then put the boat up, leave it in Puerto Rico, wherever, and then they'll go back and work.
And work for 6 months.
Yeah. And then keep doing it. And it's not as expensive as, I mean, I tell people, unfortunately, the Caribbean is one of the more expensive places to cruise in the world. I mean, even the Mediterranean is honestly cheaper than the Caribbean.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because it's so close to Europe. Mm-hmm. And so, like, getting...
Not the marinas and stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. The marinas can be more expensive. Certain places, like in Greece, they're actually pretty cheap. Mm-hmm. But you go to, like, France or Spain and
Croatia.
Yeah. Oh, Croatia's, like, very expensive. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm just talking, like, Italy and all that. I mean, the food is so cheap, and, like, it's, I mean, a glass of wine is nothing, mm-hmm. It's less expensive than a Coke, But the Caribbean has some of the prettiest water. And, I always tell people that, for about the cheapest I'd want to do it is about $2,000 a month. And then you can, that's living pretty tight, never
mm-hmm.
staying in a marina. And that's just barely taking care of the boat maintenance and then your entertainment fund, But,
yeah, exactly.
But so that's why Puerto Rico is a good spot for like provisioning and all that, and start and basing your boat, because then you can get anywhere in a 24-hour sail basically.
Yeah, and I mean we've got a lot of diversity in types of beaches, types of harbors, types of anchorages, which is nice, and we're close to Dominican Republic and USVA and BVA technically. Yeah. So it's a great jumping off point.
Yep, I like it down here. So, I mean, what else about Puerto Rico? I mean, so you've got... talk about... Okay, what is the climate of Puerto Rico? Like, for people, what can they expect when they get down here?
It probably won't be colder than, like, 80s. Yeah. It's hot, it's humid, but in a good, Caribbean way. So it's definitely beach all the time. I mean, there's a meme that's like watching winter from Puerto Rico right on the beach. So it's great sailing conditions most of the time. The north can get, pretty choppy. They call it the thorny patch for a reason.
Yeah, right, yeah.
The south coast is always pretty calm. I mean, it's kind of windy today, but it's really not that bad.
Well, one thing, like, what I did, so if you're ever going to come down here, there's a book called The Gentleman's Guide to Passages South, or The Thorny Path. I think he's got 2 books, both writing about the same thing. And one of the things he recommended is, like, crossing both Dominican and Puerto Rico, you leave, like, very early in the morning, mm-hmm. like, before dawn. Yeah. And then, because then the trade winds are less, and then you can get across where you need to go.
Usually picks up around 10, 11 a.m. So it gets kind of gnarly.
Oh, man. When my first attempt at docking this boat was, I don't know, probably 10 or 11 in the morning.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's when the fans come on.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not super proficient at this boat yet. It's my mm-hmm. first time attempting to dock it. And I don't know if you noticed on the dock there, but like, so it's got a concrete finger coming out this mm-hmm. way, and it used to have bumpers or whatever, and they're gone now, so now there's just big jagged bolts sticking out. Oh. And I'm like,
that sounds
it's concrete and jagged bolts, and I'm like, I barely made it in, but it's all right.
But you did it.
Yeah.
But you did it. Now you know to come in at 9.
Yeah. So, I mean, what else about Puerto Rico? I mean, what talk, give me some more information why people don't want to come here.
Well, I think we've covered a couple of basics, which is it's a U.S. territory, so if you want to fly in, you don't need a passport.
Right.
It's very friendly for U.S. flag boats and U.S. citizens. It's got tons of infrastructure like marinas and stuff like that, and everyone communicates. So like when you landed with Jose, he told you, go here, go there, talk to this guy. So whatever you need, the marina managers will help you out, and obviously island bound. But I think one of the best things Puerto Rico has is that it has such rich history and rich culture and like all these awesome natural resources. Like from here we could drive 30 minutes and go through amazing waterfalls that not a lot of people know about. we'll drive 2 hours. We'll be at the rainforest, which is the only rainforest in the U.S. Under the National U.S. Forestry and Wildlife Agency.
And that's
El Yunque.
El Yunque. Yeah, I've been there a couple times. It's really pretty.
We have a dry forest, which is in Guanica, which is really good for mountain biking and hiking. Really nice views there. So, I don't know. I think it has so much to offer in one small little 100 by 35 mile island.
Well, yeah, you can drive anywhere in the island in 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Like from end to end, 3 hours, something like that?
Yeah, pretty much. And we have a panoramic route that's made just for that.
Oh, really?
And it's got like a bunch of different hiking spots and like look over spots.
But yeah, so when I'll exclude like the first time I came through, but the second time I came through, I stayed at I came into Marina Pescaderia there with Jose, and I mean it wasn't just because I'd met him before, but he wasn't doing it because of me, but it was really cool because like he got a bunch of the cruisers that came in all within that week, and he did like a little presentation for him, say, okay, you can go. If these are the cool spots to hit along the South Coast. If you need services at any of these places, here's a list.
Yep.
And so he had a list and all that. I thought it was really cool that
he has a list of like the best restaurants to go to. He updates that all the time. He gets a kick out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's also a really awesome nightlife and kind of like restaurant bar scene. Obviously COVID, but in San Juan we have one of the best 50 bars in the world, La Factoria.
La Factoria, I've been there. Yeah, that's a cool spot.
And I mean, I love Old San Juan just to walk around and kind of hang out. I mean, you guys did food tours and all that. I think our food is pretty legit. Puerto Rican cuisine is pretty cool, and we have some amazing chefs. I have to take you to Bacoa.
Okay.
It's a new restaurant. It's like it's like an antique farmhouse, and
where is it?
Some of the best chefs.
Where is that?
It's like 20 minutes from Fajardo.
Okay. All right. Well, I plan on being in Fajardo. I don't know. I think I'm gonna leave here in the middle of next week.
Okay.
And then I'll just kind of take my time getting. I might do Caja Muertos again. I don't know. I then go to like Salinas, and then Palmas. Yeah, and then up for Fajardo, and then I'll probably at that. I've got a few things I got to get there and being shipped there and stuff, and then I'll head over to the Spanish Virgins.
Yeah, you should. In Vieques, you should, like, a good starting point is Punta Arenas.
Okay. I haven't spent much time there in Vieques.
It's like the eastern, it's like a little harbor in the eastern part of Vieques. It's very nice, very pretty, super calm, protected.
So Vieques has kind of gotten a bad rap lately, crime and stuff like that. Is it recovering now or what?
I think it's hard. So Vieques has a very difficult history with, I don't know if you knew that there was a Navy base there.
Yeah, right.
And so there's like still some
unexploded ordnance and stuff.
Yeah, and you can see it on the charts and everything. But
you want some more wine? You okay with that?
I'm good.
Okay.
So yeah, Vieques is just they have an intense history with visitors and tourists and Americans particularly. So They don't love it, but I think it's getting better. And for just certain areas you need to avoid and just be extra vigilant when you are there. But Punta Arenas, I mean, I go there all the time and nothing's ever happened because there's no access from like the roads or anything. It's just kind of uninhabited.
One of the cool things, and actually, I mean, so I did it a long time ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was. They have the Bio Bay there in Vieques. But actually, there was one right next to La Paguera.
Yeah. I love that one.
I thought that was even better than the one in Vieques.
Yeah.
So Biomedalescent Bay, if you guys don't know, is like, I don't know, there's little critters that live in the water. Are they bacteria? What are they?
It's no, it's like plankton.
Plankton.
Yeah.
Okay. And basically, they're bioluminescent, right? So you move them, you stir them up, and they glow. And so, like, you take your dinghy into this little bay, and, like, anytime you touch the water...
It'll glow. Blue, like a really pretty blue. Actually, Puerto Real has bioluminescence.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, so when there's no moon,
there has to be no moon.
You can go to the end of the dock and just, like, throw some water. And
it is pretty cool.
Glow.
I've tried to film it.
It's just never the same.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could do it... Okay, if I could... do it maybe from the dock where I have my camera still.
Yeah.
But the problem is I'm always doing it from a dinghy or a boat. And like I can't keep my camera still enough to get an open exposure enough to get that.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard to get. So it's something you got to see in person. It is really cool. And then we did it. Yeah. I didn't do it last time because I'm a bit of a weenie, but So
got in the water.
Yeah, she put a mask on and got in the
Mm-hmm.
water and started swimming around. It's pretty cool.
There's sharks in there.
Are there really? Oh no. Well, okay. I won't tell.
Don't tell Theodora.
Theodora. Yeah. Wow. Okay. She. Good to know. She's pregnant now.
I know. I just saw their videos. I'm so excited. Congratulations.
Yeah.
guys.
So it's Graham and Theodora with Babe, Where's My Passport? You got to check them out. They sailed with us for about a month last year. So.
Yeah.
And you met them there in Salinas, I guess.
No. Yeah. And so. I don't remember if we went to dinner before or after.
Oh, yeah,
Jose.
we came in Ponce. We went to dinner with Jose at that
I don't remember.
Mexican place, Desperados or something.
I think it was like something like Cowboys or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd never been there before.
Hey, it was all right. It was a good place.
It was good. Good
Yeah.
food.
So COVID? I mean, have a lot of businesses shut down, or are they?
Yeah, a lot of restaurants,
Really?
particularly, but a lot of businesses opening up too. I think a lot of people that lost their jobs or kind of like got stuck at home decided I don't want to do this anymore, and they're starting businesses. I mean, I have at least 10 friends who've started their business in the last couple months.
Like online businesses, or are they
All
just
kinds. Yeah, like people buying properties and doing new establishments, obviously with like the COVID protocols, but
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Puerto Rico has a lot of really nice restaurants. I don't know where you've been here in Ponce. Have you been anywhere?
Not too many places. The Taqueria, Monterey, and oddly enough, Jose recommended it. Went to Bahias.
Yep.
That's a cool spot. And
that's really close to the spectator area that
Okay.
I want to do for the event.
Oh, that'd be a great spot for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so right across from the marina here, there's that section. It looks like a bunch of old restaurants and bars. Are they just shut down from COVID?
You mean the boardwalk?
The boardwalk.
No, the boardwalk got really affected by Maria.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And then the earthquakes kind of.
And the earthquakes. So what? I mean, all those places are just too bad to rehab, or
No, so they're working on a complete reconstruction with FEMA.
Okay.
So I think they're still in the kind of design phase for that. But all the restaurant owners of those little kiosks and stuff just opened in the parking lot, like with the little food trucks.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, well, I can hear them every night.
Yeah. Oh,
On the
was
weekends.
worse before.
Yeah.
Trust me, there was like karaoke and salsa dancing. No one slept at this marina.
Right. Well, I would imagine. This marina it's great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not really for liveaboards, though.
No, it's a private. marina.
Yeah. Well, it's a yacht club. Yacht club. Yeah. So, and there's probably I've met a few of them here. There's probably three or I've met three other boats that are living on their boat here. But I guess most of them have been here for 6 months or more. But
yeah, most of them have been here for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I think did you see Solomon? That's right across.
Yeah, on the next dock over. Yeah, I met them last night. The identical twin peoples, no?
I don't know, the boat, it was sold. But it used to be owned by my parents' best friends. And
okay.
They were kind of the first cruisers I met ever.
Was it Beneteau 50?
They lived here. What?
Was it a Beneteau 50?
No, Solomon's a custom 62 footer.
Okay.
It's good. I'll show it to you later. It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, I think they were some of the first cruisers to get here and kind of like establish themselves as liveaboards here in Ponce. Well, that was a couple of years. That was like 7 years ago.
Well, I was talking to our friend Jose owns. He's actually a member here, and I was amazed by the affordability. I mean, like,
of being a member, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, so this slip was like $300 a month.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding? $300 a month for this?
Are you becoming a member?
Maybe just to keep the slip.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so $3,000 a year, okay, give or take, $3,600 a year to keep this slip, and I go, well, why not? I mean, because then I can keep the boat here during hurricane season, and then they actually do haul outs here too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Although I'd have to price stuff out. To be here, well, because I only go back and forth. Like, would I want to do like base in San Juan during hurricane season?
Because of the accessibility, you mean?
Well, yeah. Plus, there's just more stuff to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, Ponce's great. I've been in,
it's a very small town.
It's a small town, yeah. And most places, I'm still working on my Spanish. My Spanish is not great.
What are you doing, Duolingo?
I just got Pimsleur. something. And I much prefer. I did Duolingo for a while, but I just didn't really like it. And so I've been doing Pimsleur's. I'm up to like, I don't know, chapter 6 or something.
Well, in pre-COVID times, you could have just walked over to the bar and they were like,
yeah.
had like dozens of people help you. Like, we'll help you out.
All right. Well,
I'll help you. We can practice.
All right. There you go. Well, I mean, like, so like, but I was gonna say, like, I mean, around San Juan, the majority of people also speak English.
Yeah.
Down here, it's probably.
It's a lottery.
Yeah, it's like 50% maybe, or speak at least a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, enough.
Let's say a little more of it.
Oh, okay.
You know, fluently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I can go to a restaurant and talk to the waiter. I mean, like, and I'm almost good enough with my Spanish that I can order. I mean,
yeah.
I can go to a restaurant and get what I need. Although it's made it harder with COVID because you're wearing masks, and now so you're a little muffled from the mask, and then you can't see their lips moving, and then so that's just made it even harder to understand.
Complicated.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, I have a couple of restaurant recommendations for you here in Ponce.
Okay, which ones?
You haven't gone to La Boya?
La Boya, no.
Okay, so you know where Bahia's, where you went? It's like 2 streets over.
Okay.
So there's a park, and that's where Customs is. You never went to the Customs building here?
Oh no, we had we did Customs at in Puerto and then Cabo Rojo and
$1,200 fine.
$1,200 fine. So yeah, that was. I mean, I guess it's our fault. Yes, I mean according to the government, but yeah. So basically, I gotta. So we had Ram and Theodora, Babe, where's my passport? They were on the boat. They had an ESTA. So an ESTA, electronic.
It's like a traveling visa.
Yeah.
But to come to Puerto Rico, you need a B1, B2 visa, which is like a step.
Yeah. Well, no, if you were to fly here,
then you'd be fine.
You need just the ESTA.
Yeah.
And so I looked at entry requirements for whatever and it said get an ESTA. I'm like, okay, they applied for an ESTA online. Great, we show up. They're like, oh no.
B1, B2.
So $1,200 fine. And I think they could have said
turned you around.
Well, they could have done anything. They could have been like, all right, don't let it happen again, or they could have said, the worst case scenario is they charge you $1,200 and then they immediately deport you and you're banned from the United States for like 5 years. Not
Which
us.
didn't happen, thankfully.
Thankfully, they just charged us $1,200. So they paid half, I paid half, and whatever.
Went along with it.
Yeah.
And then went to the bar.
And then went to the bar. Yeah, drank heavily. Well, I mean that happens quite a bit on Sailing Doodles anyway. So yeah. But
I mean San Juan obviously it's the capital, so there's a lot to do.
Yeah.
But
well, speaking of like customs and all that, y'all have the local boater program, right?
Yes.
So you can just go back and forth because so you can not now during COVID because COVID's messed everything up, but you can go from Puerto Rico to the USVI without checking in, but
you can't come back without checking in.
Right. And do you know what the reason is for that? I mean,
the Jones Act.
What is the Jones Act?
The Jones Act, basically, it's a very, very complicated act, but it basically just says that Puerto Rico is treated as a foreign port.
Okay.
So when you go to St. Thomas, they're free of the Jones Act, so you don't have to pay like duties or taxes or stuff like that. But then you're coming back to Puerto Rico, so you have to check in.
Okay. And
it's mostly for commercial purposes,
right?
But it applies to
because
everything.
they're doing the USVI is a tax. There's no import duties and stuff, right, or something.
No.
But there are in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
So if you're bringing in some kind of products or something, But the local boater thing, you register your boat, and is it passenger? Each passenger has to be registered, or just the boat?
Either.
Either.
And then you get like a decal that
you
pay, and then you come in. The check-in's much quicker, and then we have the CBP Roam, which is the app, which you don't have to actually go to customs. They just FaceTime you.
So that's the way they do it now for most of the stuff is CBP. It's an app, and you FaceTime basically with customs, and they want to see. So you scan everybody's passport, and then you send it to them, and then they want to look at everybody, and then sometimes they you show them around the boat or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and sometimes they'll make you go to the office anyways, and
pay a $1,200 fine. I should have known something because when I was on, we were on hold for like 45 minutes.
Really? Did you do it in the tablet at the marina?
On my no, on my phone.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, this is taking a long time. And then finally they come back on, and I'm like, oh crap, okay. So.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about Marina Pescaderia is that it's an official port of entry, so they come to you.
So. How many of those are there? San Juan, obviously. Marina Pescaderia, Fajardo,
Puerto Rey, and I think Ponce is one too. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I have seen people check in here.
Yeah.
I saw somebody.
Customs comes.
Yeah. Well, the customs office is not even that far. There's one just right across because of the port's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is with the port? So y'all had like, had it set up for like Super Panamax or something, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah. Are we like bringing all this Puerto Rico scandals up on the podcast?
Oh, okay. I don't know.
That was a huge political scandal.
Was it?
Yeah. So the mayor of Ponce, I think it was like she was one political party, and then the people who had to approve it were another.
Oh, really? And
so they just pretty much stopped it, and then they didn't do the permits right. I don't know. It was a whole mess. Like this was supposed to be the port of the Americas. So this was supposed to be the main, and it's the biggest port in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
But it's starting up now. They just landed a couple contracts with Houston.
Okay.
To bring.
So they are going to start shipping here?
Yeah.
Because right now everything's going through San Juan.
Yes.
Okay. But they are going to start doing, like shipments from the mainland, or
yes,
okay,
from Houston specifically, and then I think a couple from South America. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see it all play out. We have a new mayor,
right.
So he's betting a lot on the port. I met with him last week, talking about mega yachts coming into Puerto Rico and stuff, because this is a good spot for that.
It is. I mean, it'd be a good. Gosh, fuel here is pretty. Comparatively cheap.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $2.50 a gallon right now for diesel.
Yeah. And again, what we were talking about, the rough weather, like the south coast of Puerto Rico is pretty protected.
Yeah.
So they're not, barging on against the wind in the north.
Yeah, for sure. And it's really, especially if you're coming from Dominican or something like that, it's not really any different distance-wise.
No.
Maybe.
San Juan's further.
Yeah, because you got to go like 90 miles down the north coast before you get to San Juan.
Yep. Ponce is smack in the middle of Puerto Rico.
Yeah. I like it here. It's I'm although I am living on a boat for the last 5 years, I get antsy. If I've been here for like 2 weeks now, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm
gonna move.
I need to move, but I'm still like another week before I got a lot of boat projects to do, and that's why I'm here, is because I can get them all done here.
We've some of the best service providers are in Ponce,
and it's really cheap too.
Fiberglass work and rigging and all that here is the best.
And I'm having all the carpet replaced in here, and I'm having all the the linoleum, whatever you want to call this stuff, replaced. And it's pretty cheap compared to where it'd be anywhere else. On my next, so
many projects.
Well, the refrigerator is from 1997. And the problem is that the door over there is 23 inches wide. The refrigerator is, with all the doors off, is 25 inches wide. So it won't go through the door.
That's going to be fun.
I could chop it up, right? But then I can't get a new one in. So basically,
you're going to take one of the windows
I have to take this window out. And then
That's going to be... Can I be here? Can I watch that?
Yeah, you want to watch that? Yeah. So basically that window's got to come out, and then I got to get a team of guys to lift the refrigerator up out the window.
Yep.
And then bring the other one in without like breaking anything and doing all that. I actually was measuring. I had it all taken apart, one of the side windows. I was like, I think that'll work. But it's 25 and a half, and that's 25 inches. And I'm like, son of a bitch. So
I think that's the window.
Yeah, I think that's the one that's going to have to go. But I don't know. I got a lot of.
I'll get you a team of guys. Just buy them some rum. They get creative with them.
All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah. All right. I guess so.
No, trust me, it gets better.
Okay. Well,
my neurons start firing
I need to be able to get the window out without breaking it. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Because it's it's all kind of glued in there. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. We'll get it done one way or another. Hopefully, maybe it'll last for a season. I don't know. I haven't decided where I'm gonna bring the boat. After. Yeah, like for hurricane season. Like I said, either San Juan or Ponce.
What's the gross tonnage on it?
I don't remember.
Because you're not hauling it out. You're just...
I'd prefer not to haul it out. I mean, but they hauled this one out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for hurricane season, basically they pull every boat out of this marina.
Mm-hmm. But you have to be on the ticket.
Right. Wait, what do you mean ticket?
So you have to sign up for the program.
Oh, okay. And
so if you want to do that, sign up for the program.
Okay, well, I'll do that then. Or I can just run from it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know. And then San Juan, I don't know. Do you know how much more expensive is like San Juan, like to keep a boat? It's probably a lot more.
So there's two marinas. There's San Juan Bay Marina, and then there's the San Juan Yacht Club.
Right.
I'd have to check you the rates because the rates depend on like seasonal and stuff like that, but it's not that much more expensive.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Well, that's all right. I may just do San Juan just because, I mean, it's a lot more going on or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, even...
the only bad thing with San Juan is San Juan mostly historically gets the northwest quadrant of hurricanes, which is the worst.
Oh, okay.
So that might not be your favorite spot to keep it.
Well, but I mean, until Maria, y'all hadn't been hit by like a major hurricane in a long time.
1998.
1998.
Mm-hmm.
And how bad was that one?
It was pretty bad.
Was it?
Yeah, because it cut straight through the middle, kind of like Maria.
Okay.
A bit more east, but it wasn't Maria. I mean, Irma and Maria were other levels of hurricane. No one had seen that kind of level of hurricane.
There was like a Jose or something too that was right after Irma that was threatening here, but I think it went off somewhere else. I don't remember.
Yeah, so it was Irma, Jose, and Maria.
Yeah.
But Jose was just kind of like...
Yeah.
It was very weird because we were all freaking out because we were doing hurricane relief, and then Jose suddenly goes north, and then he turns around. He does like a U-turn, and then he starts heading south again, and we're all like, okay, this is just insane.
Y'all were doing like hurricane relief for the Virgin Islands and the BVI, right?
Yes.
And then, so y'all were getting, and then like 2 weeks later is when...
10 days.
10 days?
10 days.
So basically, all those boats that you sent over there are like, no, come back. We need all this stuff now.
Yeah, well, we'd sent 20 shipping containers full of relief to BVI.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you how many boats went over there with stuff. And so we'd sold out our stores out of chainsaws, tarps, all kind of hurricane prep and all kind of provisioning. So you went to a store in San Juan and there was no water.
Wow. And it's
for us to prepare.
Yeah.
Because we were preparing for Irma, and Irma actually hit the USVI the day of my birthday. And so we had all those provisions, and then when we saw the damage, we were like, oh my god, we have like everything we bought, we don't need it because it went north, so let's send it over. And then Maria came.
Well, hey, I mean, it's that was a bad year.
Yep.
That was a bad year. I mean, I think there was a lot of hurricanes last year too, but none of them really did any damage anywhere, I don't think.
Well, in South America.
Oh, was there?
Yeah. Guatemala and Nicaragua got hit hard with the post, like, when the names run out. It was like Theta or something.
Oh, really?
Like they were already in the Greek alphabet. Yeah. That got hit pretty hard. And didn't one hit? Louisiana got hit.
Yeah, that's right.
Back to back.
Yeah.
But no, we were lucky.
Right.
Very lucky.
Well, all right. Anything else we need to talk about here? Anything else you want to cover? So it's.
Well, I have a question for you.
Great.
What are your top 5 to do in Puerto Rico? Like top 5 things you can't miss if you're cruising.
Oh, well, La Peguera is pretty great. I mean, you got to go do like at Caracoles or Enrique.
Yep.
Yeah,
Enrique.
Yeah, and hang out there at the sandbars. You got to hit a bio bay. The
Barqueta one is my favorite.
Yeah, that one is pretty good. I think it's just called Bahia Florence, or what is it? Bahia.
Yeah, it's just right past the Keys. Yeah.
And then, El Yunque is pretty great. You got to go around there and see that.
Yeah.
And then like an old
hike.
Go tour Old San Juan and see El Moro.
Yeah. Go to La Factoria.
Yeah, La Factoria. Of course, get a drink there. That's pretty cool. You can try figure out which of the pina coladas are better, but I don't know. I mean, so. Well,
there's a war about who invented it.
What? Yeah, I mean that. So the Hilton or what's the other place? Barrachina. Honestly, I didn't really care for either one that much.
Really?
I mean, I've had better pina coladas. Just saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to go try it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean,
Oh, you gotta go to the rum distillery here.
oh, where's that?
Don Q. It's
Oh, really? Don Q?
yeah,
Okay.
a couple miles from here.
All right, I'll do that. And then
One more. Yeah.
One more thing I'm thinking of?
No, what? You've got one more.
Oh, I got
Yes,
one more.
I said 4.
Oh, man. Well, it would have been Arecibo. Or
That doesn't exist.
yeah, I know, right? So explain what happened to Arecibo there?
So Puerto Rico had the biggest observatory in the world.
Right.
But after Hurricane Maria, and even before Hurricane Maria, like, the funds weren't coming in. It wasn't very well maintained, and then Maria just kind of killed it. But they didn't do post maintenance on it, and so the tensors broke.
Yeah, I saw the aftermath stuff on
Yeah.
it, and it was.
They have it on video. The moment
Yeah.
the tensors broke.
They were flying a drone.
Yeah.
How much?
Because they knew there'd been an article on it maybe a week before, like, if immediate funding doesn't come in to fix it,
Yeah.
we're losing it, and then boom.
Yeah, they were flying the drone
Gone.
to like inspect it because they're like it's going bad, and then
Yeah.
and
It
then
literally,
just boom.
Yeah.
And so pretty crazy. And then I actually one thing I really liked was La Cueva Ventana.
okay, yeah, you went there.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that was like 4 years ago.
Out
Though.
San Utualo.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really cool going through the caves and all that.
Yeah, so it's like a really big, awesome cave that looks like a window overlooking a valley, and you kind of just hike your
And
way
I
through
mean, it's a good little hike through there,
Yeah. So before, it used to be just a private lot.
right?
And so locals would just go
Go
there
there?
at your own risk.
Right.
Yeah, so you'd like climb down that little sketchy rope, no helmets on, and just kind of try to survive.
And now it's
No lights. It was pitch black dark when you got through that section, and now they made it a business. And
right. I think it was.
Going
It's,
really
What
well.
is it like $20 or $30 a person now or something?
yeah,
Something like that.
15, 20
All right. So what else am I missing there then? What your top 5?
Okay. I think Culebra is definitely a must.
Yeah, I didn't even think about Culebra. Okay, so yeah,
No,
Cul-
no backsies.
All right. All right.
You can do it in your top 10.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, okay, no, I'm going to retract. Number 1 is Coffin Island, just because I grew up there.
Oh, okay.
So I'd say Coffin Island, Culebra, the Cabo Rojo area. I love it because it was just like the views from the lighthouse
Yeah.
and obviously Marina Pescaderia, Old San Juan, and the panoramic route.
Okay, just drive.
Panoramic route is sweet.
Just driving around now.
Yeah, because then you drive through like a bunch of waterfall spots and a bunch of lakes. And I mean, in a day, you can go to 2 different lakes, 3 different waterfalls, and just some nice little hikes. And there's different points where you can actually see the Atlantic and the Caribbean at the same time.
Okay,
It's really nice.
that's cool.
Really cool.
I'll have to. And so I guess a lot of people don't realize that, like, you know, the Caribbean actually starts at Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And so it's the whole island chain. Like Puerto Rico starts it, and then you got the island chain around it.
Yep.
And that's everything inside there, like in south of Cuba, south of Puerto Rico. And all
Yeah.
that.
And then the north of Puerto Rico is the Puerto Rican Trench, which is the
Right.
second deepest trench in the world.
So how is the fishing in Puerto Rico too? A lot of people are big fishermen.
Yeah, we've got international fishing tournaments. Ponce used to host a lot of really good ones, but San Juan's got the biggest ones right now, and Puerto Rey. I think you weren't there for one.
No, are they like the big ones where they're like $1 million prize and all that kind of stuff?
Not that big, but maybe like a step before.
Okay.
And a lot of really, really big, sport fishers come to
Yeah.
Puerto Rico for the IBT and San Juan and stuff like that.
Well, it's crazy. Like I know a guy. He was a airplane broker that I knew, did some business with back in the day, and I think he was in Cabo or something like that, and they won a sport fishing tournament.
The Bigsby or something like
So
that.
he won like $500,000. I'm like, are you kidding me? $500,000 for a fishing tournament? I mean, now their
I mean,
entry.
you're talking about
Well, yeah, but the entry prize was like 40 grand
Yeah.
too, or something. I mean, so like
plus everything they spend in like crew and
Yeah. So they either I don't remember his whole thing, but these people either own the boat, so whatever, they don't care anyway. There's multi-million-dollar boats, so what's a $40,000 entry fee, or they charter it and they get like 5 guys and they each put 10 grand towards the entry fee.
and then they split the
Yeah.
prize money.
And then they got to give the crew
Fishing
a tip.
tournaments are whole other world. I mean, I love it, but they're very complicated. Like planning them is a lot of work.
I did some sport fishing like 4 years ago here. Didn't catch anything on it. It was kind of a bummer, but
Here in Puerto Rico?
Out of San Juan though.
Okay.
And then but we did some tarpon fishing there too. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's some big tarpon, and they're really fun to catch.
Well, here if you go, so you know at the end of the bay, like the little harbor,
Right.
that's the fishing association.
Okay.
So the little marina at the end.
Yeah.
And there's tons of tarpon there. I mean,
Are there?
pre-COVID, people would go there to just like feed the tarpon. They're big, big and fat.
It's too bad they're not good eating them. I mean, they're huge, but
Yeah,
they're really bony, right, or
yeah,
something?
and gummy, like
Really?
chewy. Yeah, but no, fishing here like mahi, great for like fishing here for mahi is amazing. We've got bluefin, yellowfin, tuna, snapper.
Okay.
Lots of really good snapper. So the place I mentioned, La Boya, they go out fishing every day, so everything's fresh caught. Like fish taco is really good.
All right.
Really, really good.
I mean, it's one of those weird things, like being a sailor and living on the water and all that. Like you would think I'm huge into fishing and eating fish, but I'm really not.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not either.
Okay.
But I'm slowly getting more into it. I'm like, if I'm gonna fish it, then if I'm gonna kill it, then at least I can eat it.
Yeah. Okay. If I actually do, I've eaten fish that I've caught.
Yeah.
But it's generally if I go to a restaurant, I'm not going to order the fish. I mean, sometimes I go to a sushi restaurant, sure, I'll get some tuna or some mahi or something, but I don't know. It's just
not the big.
I'm from Texas. We like cows.
Meat. Yes.
Cows. So we like the big thing. And then
then I'll give you recommendations for cow restaurants.
Guilty. Whatever is I've been to a couple. I've been here 4 weeks now, and I've been to the Longhorn Steakhouse twice.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually not bad.
No, you have to go to Tablajero to get fresh cuts, so you can do them. Well, that's what Jose has for us tonight.
Oh, does he?
Thank you, Jose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he's making some picanha.
All right. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. And his house, it's his third house in 3 years because of
It's his third house in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of
third house ever.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Because he had a beautiful. I mean, it's still there. It's not like completely demolished, but he has a beautiful old historic house in the center of downtown Ponce.
So, like with the
earthquake,
I mean, like y'all hadn't had an earthquake in 100 years or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so do they know? I mean, is that
like why?
Yeah.
The earth moving.
Yeah. Okay.
No, there's so USGS came down and put sensors all over the south coast of Puerto Rico to kind of understand it.
Like afterwards?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. But we've had over 7,000 aftershocks in a year.
But none of them have been big, though, right? Or
no, we had I think it was the day before Christmas, we had a 5.6,
really?
I think.
Wow, around here? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like Christmas shopping and everything just started.
Really?
Yeah. It's like major PTSD, but yeah.
Wow, where were you during the first one?
Here.
Oh, really?
At home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun to wake up at 6 a.m. with the roof like literally doing like this.
Yeah. Anybody get hurt or anything?
No, I think only like 2 people died, and it was because of like they tried to get on the roof or something.
Okay.
A lot of damaged buildings though. Like my parents lost their office. Jose had to move out of his house.
Right.
But nothing to the marinas. I think there's like one crack here or something, but nothing too big.
Yeah.
But downtown Ponce is still pretty hurt.
Well, it's pretty old too, right? I mean.
Yeah, I mean this is a colonial city. We've got, buildings from the 1800s.
Right.
Which
are not
made. No, they're not. They're like brick. You
right.
know. So they're not really designed to do this.
With very little, I'm sure, no rebar back then and all that. So yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of well, actually there's a famous engineer called Miyamoto, who's like famous because he rebuilt Japan after the big Japan earthquake.
Okay.
He came here and started his company here. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's working out of here now, and so there's this huge like FEMA plan to kind of like restore a lot of the downtown buildings, and Jose's wife is an architect. So she's helping with that with a nonprofit, and I don't know. I mean, we'll rebuild. It's just material stuff.
Yeah. It's just stuff.
We're okay.
You can always get more stuff.
Yeah.
As long as the people are around, that's all right. And I guess that's kind of the great thing about Puerto Rico is I mean, you guys are guys like to have fun more than most Americans, I would say.
Yeah. Well, after the earthquakes, it was kind of heartwarming. Like, so there's a big San Sebastian festival. Have you heard of that?
No. What is that?
So it's like not culturally the same, but in terms of like size, it's like our Mardi Gras.
Okay.
So it's just this huge festival that shuts down Old San Juan for like 5 days. And so there's concerts and there's local artisans and you can buy art. And it's just literally Old San Juan gets infested by everyone on the island. So it was after the earthquakes. And a lot of people chose not to go to San Sebastian and come down here in caravans. I mean, the highway was blocked with people coming down to bring, food, water, tarps, tents, like just to help everyone down here. And everyone was just like, music and partying and let's go help out the South. And so, whatever we do, we like to party while we're doing it.
Well, that's one thing I can just picture it in my mind is like post-COVID when restrictions are lifted. I mean, like, what's the name of that place in San Juan that it's a big square and they have a bunch of restaurants and stuff. It's kind of interior. It's not like, it's near Condado and all that.
La Placita?
La Placita. And, like, I can just imagine that place blowing up when all the restrictions are lifted.
Already,
is it?
I was there on Friday, and they built this place called El Techo, which means the roof, and it's like this really awesome outdoor rooftop bar. And, I mean, everyone was socially distanced, but tables were full. Like, you needed a reservation to get in there.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are happening. I think since everyone's getting, like, vaccines are rolling in.
How is the vaccine? Is it being distributed a lot here, or?
Yeah. I mean, right now we're in the phase for like essential workers, so like paramedics, doctors, nurses, and all that, and then the 65 and up population. Which, I mean, my dad got vaccinated, like, fine, no problem.
I actually had it like 2 months ago.
Really?
So I guess I don't need the vaccine now.
I apparently had it.
Did you?
I mean, because I was traveling a lot. Well, I didn't test positive for molecular because I did it all the time because I went to like Turks and USVI and all that. But I did an antigen test alongside my last molecular test so I could go home for Christmas. And it said I had
the antibodies for it?
it. And I was like, when did I get COVID?
Well, you would know. No, okay, so like I only knew it. I kind of felt bad. And then I lost my sense of taste and smell. Mm-hmm. But I was only like, I felt bad for like 2 days.
Yeah.
My grandmother, who's 97 and has congestive heart failure, and my father, who's 79 and has Alzheimer's, both got it. Did they have symptoms? Never had any symptoms.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so it's just, I mean, it's all genetics, right? I mean,
Well, I lost my sense of taste.
Did you?
Back in August, but I had just sailed from St. Thomas to Turks and Caicos to Miami.
Yeah.
And it was kind of we didn't sleep a lot. And then when I got there, I was like really exhausted. And sometimes when I get really exhausted, especially after an event or something, like I just kind of get all iffy.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just exhaustion. And it was like for 2 hours that I didn't have a sense of taste. But I didn't really think much of it.
Yeah.
And I quarantined when I got back, but...
Well, I mean,
apparently I had it.
I hate like talking light of it because there's so many people that have lost loved ones and stuff like that. But I mean, it's you never know how your own personal genetics are going to react to it. And I think most of it has to do, or a lot of it has to do with, number one, your health and vitamins and stuff like that. I mean, I think part of the reason that I barely got sick and my dad didn't at all, and my grandmother. I mean, my dad takes more vitamins than. I mean, it's just like I'm like, Dad, you're taking like 80 pills, But hey, and so same with my grandma. You know?
So. I think it definitely has to do with lifestyle and obviously people with pre-existing conditions.
Sure.
Need to and like older populations need to be more.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was really scared.
But people.
You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just drinking all the water.
You're a bit easier.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's...
I'll take some more.
Are you take some more? Okay, there we go.
But, I don't know. I mean, this whole COVID thing is just, it's been a whirlwind. And I think for us in Puerto Rico, it's just been more draining because we literally like hadn't gotten up back on our feet from the hurricanes.
Right.
Like we were starting to crawl our way back, and then the earthquakes hit.
Right.
And then we're like processing the earthquakes, and then boom, global pandemic. Everything shut down. I'm like, oh my god. Okay, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah. It. Well, that's the way it goes, though, right? I mean, it's just you can't.
When it rains, it pours.
Right. I mean, that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, and especially, you know, being in an island down here, and it's, you know, everything's just a little bit harder. I mean, everything's a little bit harder on a boat, number one, and then being on an island. I mean, it's, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think definitely also, like, our relationship to the United States is so complicated. So it's like we respond to them, but we're also on our own for a lot of things. So definitely makes it interesting.
Well, I mean, like, so there's the big thing, like, too, in Puerto Rico is, like, do you want to be a state? Do you want to be independent? Do you want to keep it how it is, you know? And, like, I don't know. I mean...
Well, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled our current status illegal or non-existent.
What does that mean?
So it basically means, like, Puerto Rico is it's not a U.S. territory, so it's an associated free state. Whatever that means. You can have fun interpreting that. But, so, I don't remember who it was asked for an official opinion from the Supreme Court, because then we have a huge debt, right, to the U.S. So, the Congress assigned a fiscal board, which was originally called the Control Board, to oversee everything that goes on in Puerto Rico. Yeah,
that's good. Call something the Control Board and see how people like that.
Yeah, Puerto Ricans very, very happy.
Yeah, right?
But so that happened, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court because there's, like, Wall Street's involved with, like, municipal bonds from Puerto Rico. It's a whole mess. I won't get into it. But basically the Supreme Court came back and said there is no such thing as an associated free state. Like...
So it's in limbo? I mean, like...
Pretty much, because the thing is, like, the United Nations ruled, because the U.S.
Well, y'all have your own, like, Olympics, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have our own Olympic committee, and, like, we have our own Olympic competitors.
Right.
But we can't do free trade, for example. Like,
so you couldn't make a trade deal with, like, Japan or something?
It has to go through the States.
It has to go...
Through Congress.
Sorry, it has to go through the states, and then there's going to be local stuff too. So that's got to be. Well, I mean, I guess any state would too, but
it's very complicated.
Yeah. Okay.
Like and then we don't have all the responsibilities of the states. Like a lot of people say, you know, well, Puerto Rico doesn't pay federal tax, but we also don't have the same aid,
right,
as states. So it's very complicated.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm too new down here. I mean, I plan on making Puerto Rico my home, or am working towards that. And so I don't have enough information. So I like.
It depends on where you look. There's like different information.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why Puerto Rico hasn't really been known as a nautical destination, because it's just not marketed as a destination. I mean, now it's like, you know, you need a passport to go there, but that's from where, like, people fly in. But USVI has definitely gotten a lot more of a push for come sail down here, come charter down here, come, like, to the marine
What do you think that
industry.
is? Is it, I mean...
I think it's a lack of just marketing.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, Puerto Rico had never been to the Annapolis Boat Show to market before we went.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that
was just, 2 years ago?
Yeah. I mean, as a sailor and a crew, I mean, like, you know, now that I'm more experienced as a sailor and a cruiser, I mean, I kind of know that it's pretty nice down here. But, like, I still remember my first thoughts when I first started cruising. It was like, oh, man, I can't wait to get to the Bahamas, right?
Yeah.
Did the Bahamas, and it was like, now I can't wait to get to the Virgin Islands. You know, and everything in between was just kind of like, whatever. It's just it's a pit stop on the way. And so, but I think that a lot of it, I mean, like I say, marketing, and, you know, I think
word of mouth, obviously, this community is huge.
Well, I mean,
that's slowly growing.
Show places like Culebra and La Parguera and Caja Muerto and all that, and show how cool those places are and all that. And then just like it was kind of funny because like did Caja Muerto, so Island of the Dead, Coffin Island.
And you guys went all the way to the lighthouse and everything.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But I went this last weekend, or weekend before last, and got there. We left Friday, so we got there fairly early Friday.
Okay.
And there was no other boats there. It was one other boat anchored. And so we kind of had that place to ourselves and did all that. And then the next day, though, Saturday, I mean, about 9 or 10 a.m., just boat after boat started showing up. And like I anchored off maybe 300 or 400 yards because I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But then, so all the other boats get fairly close to shore, drop a bow anchor, and then run a stern anchor out towards the beach, and they're all just hanging out. And I mean, by the time,
like a little pool.
Oh yeah, there was like 25 boats there or something. You know?
No, there. When I was in high school, there used to be the back to school party. So it was every year in August. People would just go there, and there were boats with like DJs. This was a sponsored event, so you'd have 150 boats, 200 boats.
Well, and oh gosh, wow, I can imagine that.
Like rafting lines back to back. It was insane.
Well, in La Parguera, I mean, like this was like just before COVID, I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were just to that one little Caracoles. I mean, there were 40 boats.
Yeah.
And just and they're all power boats too. And they have like killer sound systems.
Yeah, but that's nothing. I mean, look on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or if you guys at home want to enjoy yourselves for a little bit, look up Caracoles Gone Wild. And it's like a party that people threw, and there are hundreds of.
Wow.
I mean, this is terrible for natural resources, but
but
we are known for our parties.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I said. I mean, like the place like La Placencia. I can't. I mean, that's gonna La Placita. Sorry, I mean La Placencia. I mean, that place is just gonna go crazy. So I mean, it already is. But I mean, like, so one thing I meant to bring it up earlier. I kind of forgot about it. Was so they have a thing called the Puerto Rican Navy.
Yes.
And so, kind of, what is the Puerto Rican Navy?
Are we talking pre-hurricanes or post-hurricanes?
Oh, well, I mean, go a little bit of both.
Yeah, pre-hurricanes, the Puerto Rican Navy is not an actual Navy, so please, real U.S. Navy, don't come at me. It was the nickname that the people in the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands had for the Puerto Rican boater community, because on long weekends, it literally looked like the Navy rushing in, like tons of sport fishers and center consoles and stuff, just kind of like invading all the islands. But when the hurricanes hit, we were the first responders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so
it's kind of funny. A couple of people in the USVI call me the Queen of the Puerto Rican Navy because I was the one that kind of managed the fleet.
That's awesome.
Of like the resources going there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So after. We made stickers. We have like a logo and everything, but we made stickers that says like, "Here comes the Puerto Rican Navy. We love you. We care." And so now they kind of like us,
right?
A little bit, but before it was a total derogatory term. Like, "Here comes the Puerto Rican Navy." Like, lock up your doors and all that stuff.
Well, no, I mean like. But I mean, like, you'll have, Christmas in July. I hear that's the big thing, right?
Yeah, so Wally Castra Marine, which is in Puerto Rey, hosts Christmas in July in Savannah Bay and Virgin Gorda.
Right.
And pretty much everyone from Puerto Rico goes over there, and it's like a huge party.
And it's, July 24th or something? 25th?
It changes, but it's usually, like, the second to last or last weekend of July.
And it's just everybody, I mean, so from the east coast of, I mean, it's like 30, 40 miles, so a power boater, it's an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then so they go over there and...
No, and from here, from Ponce, a lot of these boats would go over.
Yeah.
I mean, they came from everywhere. And it wasn't just Christmas in July. I mean, any long weekend, 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
You just go over there and we'd spend 10 days, And you can totally tell where the Puerto Ricans are because that's where the music is coming from.
Right. Well, you got the reggaeton.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I can handle like 3 or 4 songs of reggaeton.
But not 10 days straight.
I could not do 10 days straight of reggaeton. Yeah. And it's just like... I remember going to La Parguera and like first time last year and just I mean I'm 50 yards away from this one boat, and my ears are. I'm going. Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
so loud.
Yeah, imagine being inside the boat.
Oh yeah, and I don't even talk to somebody. I don't know.
No, but yeah, I mean, I like my reggaeton every once in a while, but yeah, it gets a little too much. And I mean, the USVI has regulations for that, and Puerto Rico's trying to, in caracolas and stuff, like, don't go above certain decibels because of the natural resources and all that, but no one really listens.
So all right, so I can't do it. What is your best impression of the reggaeton beat? How do you do it?
But like 7,000 decibels more.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. That's
and then
good.
you'll do like a little remix in the middle.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the most famous one is Despacito. Like,
Yeah. Well, they filmed that in San Juan, right?
Yeah.
In what do they call it area? La Perla. La Perla.
Yeah.
La Perla. I got to work on my pronunciations.
La Perla.
I'm not trying.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, thanks, I appreciate that.
Jose will help you in that.
Yeah.
In that department.
Yeah. Well, Jose is an interesting guy. He owns Marina Pescaderia there in Cabo Rojo.
Yeah.
A nice guy.
Gave me my first job representing marinas, actually.
Oh, there you go.
When I
So
wanted
now
to
do
start
you
my business.
represent like most of the marinas here now, or what?
I still just work with my two main ones, which are Marina Pescaderia and Puerto Rico. Like, those are the main ones.
You got each side of the island covered.
Yeah, and they're the most, I don't want any other marina to, like, get mad at me, but they're the most cruiser-oriented or cruiser-friendly marinas. Like, they cater to this market.
Right.
The rest of the marinas still are very local scenes.
Like here in Ponce, I mean, it's more of a local place.
Yeah.
I mean, there are cruisers here. Like I just saw a boat pull in the other day.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 cruisers that are here that I know of, but most of them are just locals that keep their boat here.
Yeah. But they have cruiser programs in place, and that's why we went to Annapolis. But so I started my company in 2019, which was a great time to launch a company before a global pandemic.
And again, it's weareislandbound.com.
Weareislandbound.com.
Okay.
And so I mean, I think my main goal in the next couple of months is to get the World Match Racing Tour squared away, because that's going to be a huge marketing launch.
I mean, is this going to be you going to record it somehow, televise it, stream it? What are you going to do?
Yeah, we're in conversations right now with CBS Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And then the World Match Racing Tour from London, like the franchise owner brings in, I think it's broadcast in over 180 countries.
Well, now there's a lot of, I mean, obviously there's sailing YouTube channels, but there's been a lot of lately YouTube, like, I don't know, is it, I can't think of, I'm going blank on the name of one of the...
America's Cup?
Well, there is the America's Cup, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of YouTube channels that are basically just covering race footage. Like, they're covering the one, it's not the America's Cup, but the one that's going on right now, the...
Prada Cup.
The Prada Cup.
It's part of the America's
Yeah,
Cup.
and there's 2 or 3 sailing channels that are covering that.
Sailing Anarchy. I think they have a YouTube. Adventures of a Sailor Girl is one of my favorites. She's really cool, Nick. But yeah, so like Ineos team, which is like the underdog that suddenly everyone's like, oh my god, they might win.
Yeah.
I think the skipper Ben Ainsley actually, like, World Match Racing Tour is kind of like where these guys start out. So Ben Ainsley is originally from the World Match Racing Tour.
Okay.
So in my opinion, in terms of like big racing regattas, it's like America's Cup, Sail GP, and then World Match Racing Tour.
Okay.
So
cool.
it's like the best. They do this professionally.
Yeah. So I thought of I just thought it's called Planet Sail. They're they're a YouTube channel. They're not super big right now, but their production value is really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, they get whoever is doing it is in the know with all these racers, because they get like really good access to like
the
people,
footage and the interviews and everything.
Yeah. So that, I mean, I would definitely reach out to some of them.
For sure. I mean, we have to do like daily press briefings and all that stuff, and it's all broadcast.
And it's in October?
Late October.
Yeah, there probably won't be too many. I was going to say, you could reach out to some of the, I mean, I might be around, but you could reach out to some of the sailing YouTube channels. But October, I mean, that's still technically hurricane season.
They're still out of the hurricane box.
Yeah.
But what I was talking to, do you know the Ocean Racers crew?
No, I'm not sure.
So they do regattas around the Caribbean, and they have a pogo, I don't know what it was, but a pogo. It's a really cool boat, racing boat. racer cruiser. But my big vision is to like restart the race around Puerto Rico. So in the 80s, there was a race around Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
So
that would be in like
such a
January, which is cruising season.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'm just thinking of that, like,
technically,
I'm like, oh my god. I mean, like, parts of it would be really easy. Parts of it would be really freaking hard.
That's where, you know, the people can get a good advantage on the competition.
I mean, trying to, because so say you start, I don't know, just say Fajardo. Okay, start in Fajardo. Okay, whichever way you go is pretty easy.
Yeah.
And then going whichever way you go is pretty easy. And then, but that last leg back.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do it Fajardo. I do stops.
Okay.
So I'd stop in San Juan.
Okay.
And then do to Cabo Rojo.
Right.
And then maybe stop in Ponce and then Fajardo.
Right. So that Cabo Rojo to Ponce and then the Ponce to Fajardo.
That would be the...
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, I guess if you got lucky, you could get maybe a north or a south wind. But, I mean, the rest of the time you're just beating into it. And, I mean, those trade winds, too. I mean, that's no joke. I mean, 20 knots on the nose.
Yep.
I mean...
It's for real racers.
Yeah.
And it used to be done in the 80s. My mentor, who was the one who started the sailing school here, Ronnie Ramos, he used to do it. And he won it a couple of times.
So how many boats would enter that?
I think at that time it was like maybe 15 to 30 boats, like depending. Because it wasn't, like back then in the 80s, you didn't have all these Caribbean regattas. Uh-huh. And now you've got the Caribbean 600 and you've got the like you've got races too from Spain to here.
I mean, if you could, because obviously COVID's messed all this stuff up, but I mean, like they kind of go in order. So you have the Stir, St. Thomas, and then you got the BBI.
Well, the first one's Caribbean 600 in Antigua.
Okay.
Which is usually like February.
And then they kind of go in order down the islands after that, right?
So they do Antigua, and then they do St. Martin.
Okay. And then Stir, and then
Stir, and then BVI, and then St. Bart's, and then Antigua Sailing Week.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's all pretty close.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, if you could get that in, the
best thing would be either before Stir or before the Caribbean 600.
Right.
Like be the first or be the third.
Right. And then, but I mean, you're talking about even
the huge race.
Yeah, because even even like the TP52s and stuff like that. Yeah. They're going to be. They can probably. Some of those legs would be no problem. That'd be done in like 4 or 5 hours. Mm-hmm. But some of those legs might take 12, 14, 20 hours.
Yeah.
And then so you're talking. 6-7 days, probably to get the whole thing done. Huh? Or you think
4 to 5?
4 to 5.
That's what it used to be done in 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
it's a sailing week.
Yeah. So you're gonna have like cruising class boats in there.
Yeah.
Like somebody's gonna be in their Beneteau 50 and they're gonna do it.
Yeah. You divide it up into classes depending on so you can do like different types of ratings. You can do CSA rating, which is the Caribbean Sailing Association rating, where you have to measure the boat and all that stuff. And then there's PHRF. I'd go with CSA because that's where all their other regattas go, and that gets really technical, But so you have your real time, and then depending on your boat performance and your rating, your handicap rating, you have your actual, actualized time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I've only done one real regatta. Not like the Stir or anything like that. Yeah. I did one in Indonesia where it was like timed and all that, but it was a lot of fun. It really was.
Yeah.
And we were racing all day for like 4 or 5 days each day, and then brought we were in Indonesia, so we would stop at these uninhabited islands, and bring the bar with us, and so we had multiple power yachts that would follow along with us, and they were just stocked full of booze, and then set it up, and it was just everybody would drink till whenever, and then get up and I still remember there was a couple of there was one, I can't remember, it was like a real race boat though, and then they just were so hungover they slept in and missed the start line, and then because normally we never saw them because I was on a Beneteau 50 and they're on this, I don't even know what it was, but it was fast, and all of a sudden they, we see them coming up behind us, just passing us, and we're going still, and it was pretty funny though. Yeah,
I was like, bye.
Yeah, but yeah, it's amazing how fast some of those boats can be. like the actual race boats and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, what we were saying before about Puerto Rico, like with competitive sailors, I mean, we have people here who have won St. Bart's, first place in their category in the past 5 years, or the Caribbean 600. We have a couple boats that go to that one. So, unfortunately, I don't know why that's not covered in the media, but they're good friends of mine, and they're like they.
Start it off. Hey, you got the match race coming up, so get that going, and then hopefully that will be successful. I'll help promote it, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
And then I would really like to see you bring back that round Puerto Rico race.
Yeah. I've already talked to a couple racers, and they're like, "Damn, that would be awesome."
Because I mean, really, there's a lot of that there's a lot of that kind of racing in like Australia.
Yeah.
And
the Med.
And the Med.
And a lot of these boats come from the Med.
Right. But I don't recall anything like that in the mainland of the U.S. Or anything like that.
Well, you've got Key West Race Week, Charleston Race Week, and you've got a couple.
Yeah.
But not in terms of like long distance.
Right.
I think long distance. There's one that my friends Ocean Racers are gonna do now, and it's Annapolis to Bermuda, if I'm not mistaken, which gets pretty intense. And they actually did the Rolex Middle Ocean Race, which is intense, and their YouTube channel is pretty cool. So check it out.
But who is that?
Ocean Racers.
Ocean Racers?
Yeah.
That's the name of the YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll check them out. Ocean Racers.
Yeah. So yeah, I love both worlds. I love cruisers and I love racing, but I think my main love is racing. It's just like...
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot going on at the same time.
There is a lot going on, yeah. I've only been in the one regatta, but it wasn't like a real race. It was just kind of a fun thing. There was maybe 20 boats. But like I've been to the St. Thomas one, I've been to the BBI one.
Yeah.
And
they're so much fun.
They're a lot of fun, and those guys, they party, but they take it pretty serious too.
Yes, very serious.
Like
there's training involved and weight loss and
well, that's the thing is like 2 years ago, or was it last year? I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. I was trying to, it had been 2 years ago because this other stuff got canceled. So 2 years ago, for the St. Thomas or the BVI regatta, I was trying to get a crew position on one of the boats and be like, hey, I've got this YouTube channel. Let me film it. I know how to stay out of the way. I know, I'm a sailor, right? So I know how to not cause problems. They're like, no, we don't want the extra weight. I'm like, I'm 170 pounds.
Doesn't matter.
They're like, no, we don't want the weight.
You can't be 10 pounds more.
I know. They don't want any of that.
Yeah.
And so that's how serious.
Well, if you want to race and Stir this year and get some stuff, let me know.
Are they actually doing it?
Yeah, Stir is going.
When is that?
It's March 25th, like last week of March.
All right. Well, heck yeah.
I'm going.
Okay,
I'll be here. Committee.
I'll be here on this boat. So
you can go crew for some.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a couple boats from Puerto Rico going.
Okay, cool.
We always go. We love Stir.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. I'll be crew, but I'll try to film some of it too and all that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm sure the organizers would love that too.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Is so the sailing industry is very old school.
Yep.
And I don't think they're starting to, but I don't think they've really grasped the concept of social media and influencers on their craft. Okay, you got Precision Sales, which is a sponsor of mine, Mantis Marine, which is a sponsor of mine, and High Fields and all that. Those guys are getting it, but the big time,
the boat shows and regattas,
they're not. They haven't caught on yet.
Yeah,
it's just okay. Do you realize that if if I promote the St. Thomas International Regatta, and I say, hey, I'm going to be there, why don't you guys all come too, and whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to say whatever, but what if I get an extra 500 people to go?
Yeah.
And they're selling another $10,000 in tickets.
Especially now with cruisers.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that in the last couple of years, sailing has kind of, not sailing, but racing has kind of slowed down a bit, and a lot of factors play into that. But I think it's that they've kind of separated from cruising, and I think cruising and racing are interlaced. The places where cruisers would kind of get together are the places that became the biggest racing spots.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
And then when you stop catering to the cruisers and they don't want to go there anymore, racing kind of dies off at the same way. And I think you have to keep them both happy and they can both coexist in the same spaces.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there's a money issue, as obviously with everything. I mean, you know, because generally cruisers are fairly cheap.
Yeah.
But, you know, they might be the patrons or the people that watch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're going to go watch and do all that, whereas they're probably not going to spend a whole, I mean, they're still going to buy tickets and buy drinks.
No, yeah, but most of the places started off with cruising regattas.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. Like, just
okay.
fun regattas.
Yeah.
And then they turned into a whole big thing.
Right.
But yeah, I think cruisers, I actually had a funny discussion about this with Puerto Rico. It was like, you bring the cruisers, the racing kind of comes with it, and then you keep them both happy.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, that's so, you know, bringing in the cruisers and stuff like that. So, okay, you know, the two main marinas you said that are really set up for it are Marina Pescaderia on the west coast and Puerto Rey on the east coast. So they do have plenty of extra slips and stuff like that for cruisers. I mean, like here in Ponce, not so much. I mean, they have a few.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, are there any plans or things to maybe entice other marinas to either build or add on to add space?
Yes, I can't really disclose all of that, but there are plans.
Okay.
Yeah. Ponce, I think, I mean, I grew up here. I love it. And I grew up sailing here, but I think it has so much more to offer. It just needs to be organized a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, it's coming.
All right. Well, I won't press you too much on that. Maybe when the cameras turn off, I'll
I'll talk a little bit more about it.
I got a lot of questions for you after the cameras turn off. I got some, you know.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think that's part of what I really want to bring to Ponce, like, and give back to my community. Because, I mean, Ponce it's got, like I said, some of the best providers are here. Some of like the Pan American, Central American champions. I met with one of them last night, Fray Lugo. He owns Ponce Sailing Center, so he's like pretty much one of the best riggers in the Caribbean, and he's a Central American like champion. He's a Stir Rolex champion.
Wow.
He's a BVI champion. He won our Match Racing Cup a couple years ago. I mean, he's one of the best.
Hey.
And I think that's something that I definitely want to highlight with everything that I'm doing. I think I very much love my community.
I love it too. It's I'm looking forward to making it my community as well.
Yep.
So I don't know if I haven't really made this totally public. Yeah, but I mean I've mentioned it several times in the podcast. But I mean I'm planning on making Puerto Rico kind of my home and my residence just because it's well, I mean it's a great place. It's easy to get to by boat. And it's kind of a nice launching pad for everywhere else, and
the taxes.
And the taxes are pretty nice, yeah. So,
yeah.
So. All right. Well, on that note, I think I'm out of wine. You're still. Oh well. Well, cheers. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hey, no problem. And let's do it again sometime soon.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's see here. Thank you guys for watching. Please click that like and subscribe button. That's kind of how we grow the channel. And let me know in the comments what kind of stuff you want to see and what kind of guests. If you have a guest you want to recommend, let's do it. So thanks, guys.